Okay, all right, here we go, everybody. Welcome back again. It is the Wheels and Shaky podcast, episode 19. Yes, we're up to 19. We have done this 19 times. Well, 18 times. We're going on 19. Joining me as usual is Mrs. Wheels, Miss Wheels, I suppose.
Miss Wills, that's
Miss
me.
Wheels.
Yeah.
That's there. She is. There she is, Miss Wheels. Joining us from the snowy, blustery. What is it? What is it there today?
It is snow on the ground, sun in the sky, 20 degrees.
Yeah,
So,
the sun part
yeah,
is
it's
okay,
going to
but the
get,
20 degrees, yeah, brutal.
I think it's getting up to the 40s or 60s in the next couple of days. So,
Nice.
springtime in the Midwest.
Yay. Woohoo. And we're back to, and of course, since our last episode, we have now gone back to daylight savings time, which means
Mm,
my mood is elevated a little bit. Yet another year of seasonal depression that I've survived. And
woohoo!
so here we go. So today, we're digging into some stuff with the brain. Woohoo, which is all we always kind of touch on the brain a little bit. But today we're digging into stuff with
Oh,
the brain games, as a matter of fact.
yeah.
Um,
Everything
you
we
want
got going
to?
on is all about our brain. So,
That's true. That's true. It's actually funny. So if you want to kick us off with your little thing here.
well, no, the first thing I was going to do is kind of excuse myself because my whole world is built around memory and remembering things. And even to try and put this podcast together, it required focus and memory and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears on my part. So this is a kind of a difficult episode.
What were we
Plus,
talking about? I forgot.
exactly. Plus the fact that I'm always freaking tired. Thank you, MS. And when you're tired, we all know,
Right.
your brain doesn't work.
Well, and yes,
So,
thank you MS, thank you Parkinson's, thank you sleep apnea, thank you
oh yeah.
my all kinds of stuff. There's a litany of reasons why I'm not sleeping. And every time I go to my neurologist, that's like the first, how's your sleeping?
Yep,
He's always
how's your
asking me
sleep?
about my sleeping because and if it's not one thing, it's another. It's a
Mhm.
sleep apnea. It's a sleep apnea problem, or it's a brain won't shut off problem, or it's like a really bad tremor night. And that way, sometimes those get so bad I wake up. So yeah, I
Yep,
feel you on the brain. I feel you on the sleep thing.
yep. So all
Yeah.
I mean, everything comes back to um what I always tell us: make sure you get good sleep, make sure you eat right.
Yep.
All of these, I mean, these things are, all these things we need to do to help our brain. But we also need to notice the signs that our brain is having problems so that we can somewhat fix what's happening to us.
Well, I've had that accusation leveled against me since I was a child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's something wrong with
No,
that boy. There's something wrong with that boy's brain. Um, yeah.
what made me think of it is that I go through occupational therapy, I go through physical therapy, and the one thing that gets kind of pushed to the side sometimes is speech therapy. I've got
Yep.
swallowing issues, I have speech issues, and obviously if your brain doesn't work, the brain to mouth connection,
It
all
compounds it.
sorts of issues. Exactly.
Yep.
But speech therapy also deals with a lot of these brain um, concerns we have. And I was thinking about this morning. When I go into speech therapy, basically a lot of what we work on is learning to play games that will um, trick my memory into working properly, work on my speech, that kind of thing. I was thinking about this morning because my grandson is off school. And when I went through speech therapy, I kind of conned him into playing games with me. Games that would trick my brain,
Sure.
games that speech therapy. Literally, my therapist taught me how to play games. So today he had a day off school. And I thought, oh, I looked at him and said, let's go play these games that we used to play all the time, these card games. And we looked at each other, and that was the bad thing. They were games for memory.
Ooh.
So guess we couldn't remember how to play them.
Yeah, I was gonna say either that or you got your ass kicked, but
No, no, no. We actually it was a tie. It was kind of a nice thing.
that's good.
'Cause we're both extremely competitive, so it's always nice when there's a tie.
I'm
You can shake
aware.
hands and walk away.
I'm
You're
aware.
aware.
I'm aware. I've played chess. I've played chess with the boy, and I've played cards with you. I know. I know how competitive both of you are. You're both irritating. Um,
Yeah. So I mean, I basically spent a lot of speech. She would give me different types of puzzles and teach me different types of games. So I'm grateful that the internet exists
aren't we
because
all?
exactly the internet is like my brain right now. If I need to figure out how to play these games, boom, go on the internet.
Well, and
Uh,
just the memory aspect of having a smartphone is always a pleasant,
oh my gosh.
extra tool as well. I it, I'm debating on whether I should tell this or not,
That means you need to.
because it'll get me in trouble.
Oh, that's
Somebody,
fine.
somebody significant in my life, uh, pulled out two post-it notes from her purse today, reminding her to do a couple of things. Like something she had to do tomorrow and something she had to do Saturday.
Okay.
And I'm going, you have a reminder setting on your phone. We lost your camera. We we have a remind.
Oh no,
We have a reminder setting on your phone. You know that? She's like,
I'm reminding you. Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, it's just very funny It's just very funny to see. Like you would walk around with strings tied on your fingers and post-it notes all over your person if you needed it, not realizing that every function that those things have
Yeah.
is on your phone. So, did you
Well,
did you did you just blow up your camera for a reason?
no, I don't know what
Mm,
happened.
we lost your
People don't
video
need
feed.
people don't need to see me anyway.
We have a YouTube channel, so yes, people do need to see you.
Oh, I give you a big black blob.
Um, right now, you're
Well,
just like a maroon box.
hang on a second. There's
There you go.
well,
There it
the
is.
fun thing some friends and I think about, and I did learn this in speech too, is my therapist actually made me a sign to put at the foot of my bed because we went through this whole thing about when you wake up in the morning, what are the first things you do? I don't know about you. I think everyone does it. We grab our phone, you check the time, but
Ugh.
then you'll do things like check your email, check your.
Oh yeah.
So basically, I had this poster at the foot of my bed reminding me. This is how I mean this relapse really knocked me on my booty. So I need these physical reminders because great, you've got a phone, but you have to remember to check your phone,
Right.
and then you have to remember what to check on your phone. So at least speech, I made these nice little posters. I mean, it's kind of a fun time.
That's
Um,
okay.
so I mean, your brain needs these reminders sometimes. I mean, I'm a very visual person, so I need the visual reminders.
Right.
But yeah, but technology does save us. I mean,
Yeah. So I remember. I remember back in the daycare days when
mm,
when you would have alarms set on your phone because that's when you knew buses were getting like when buses were dropping kids off and that
oh
kind of
yeah.
stuff. So like for me, like in the morning, I have an alarm. I have an alarm that reminds me to take meds. I have an alarm that tells me it's time to go take kiddo to the bus. I got an alarm for I got an alarm for a midday alarm for meds. I got a 6 o'clock
Hmm.
alarm for meds. Um, it's like I start using the alarms and the reminders and everything. Siri and whoever else is involved,
Whoever else is
becomes my
listening,
friend.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, look, I never had my memory banks were pretty full anyway. My memory banks in my brain are completely loaded up with ridiculous, unnecessary things like song lyrics and song lyrics for songs that I may never sing, and like movie quotes that I will occasionally lay on people. But and then when I have to remember the important things like somebody's birthday or something like that, I lose it. So
Oh, you'd be
so
impressed with
there's
this. My brain. I mean, I know that yours runs a million miles a minute. I always say I want to do the old Sherlock Holmes um, theory, where your brain's like an attic, and you can get rid of some stuff and put new stuff in. But the other night, my daughter and I we were watching some, competitive game show, whatever, and they gave you the answers first, and one of the answers was Poppin' Fresh, and she looked at me and I said, "Oh, that's funny. That's the name of the Pillsbury Doughboy." Did you knew that, right?
yeah, of
Because
course I knew
who
that.
would know that? Yeah,
Woohoo!
we had those toys. You'd save up and save for those stamps, and you get the toys sent
So
in.
I didn't care about the toys, but I just remember the commercial where they just give you they get the poke in the belly. Woohoo! That one.
So we were laughing because
Yeah.
why on earth would I remember that the Pillsbury Doughboy's name is Poppin' Fresh?
Yes.
You
because
know?
that's what you remember. Well, part of it is, look, I understand that, like, when you talk about long-term memory, like long-term versus short-term memory,
Right.
I can remember song lyrics from 30 years ago, 40 years ago, which, considering one of my chosen professions being somebody who sings a lot,
That's a
remembering
good thing.
stuff like that isn't necessarily bad, unless, of course, when it's a song that I need to know and I cannot remember those. Um, but then, but then somewhere within the previous 24 hours, I will have met somebody, and, like, somebody, like some coworker or something, and, like, you meet their wife for the first time. Oh, this is
Mhm.
my wife. Um, and then you see them again 2 hours later, and for the life of you cannot remember their name.
Yeah.
It's memory's a funny thing. It's one of those deals too. I remember years ago, those, like, mega memory tapes and all that stuff. That guy Kevin Trudeau, you remember that nonsense?
Mm.
Um, I actually got one of those things because he was just I was comped one at the time because I was interning at a radio station. This is that long ago. It was college. And
Wow.
the one thing that I still kind of take away from that I find helpful is to think in pictures. Your brain thinks in pictures. So, if,
I
like,
always
yeah, I mean, if I say the word elephant, you don't see the word elephant pop up in your brain. If you close your eyes, you see an elephant. You see a picture in your head of an elephant. Your brain thinks in pictures. So when you start to start to make picture associations with things you're trying to remember, that helps.
yeah.
Um, the other thing, like, for me, the other thing for me lately has been with having to learn a lot of new songs and really, have them locked down, as I start using keywords and, stuff like that.
Right.
I have to use these tricks because I can't just remember stuff outright. And so there's that whole thing. But, like, I'm looking, and then you start thinking about how you can apply those to other items. Like, I'm looking at your list here, and, speech therapy and the games that you start playing, try to
Oh,
keep
we'll
your
get there.
brain.
I mean, do you remember the Wordle days? Speaking of
Yes.
being competitive, and the
Oh,
two of
yeah.
us would could be playing
Yes.
Wordle every day.
Yep. I do. I remember.
That just
I every now and again I go back to it just because, and I don't. But
no,
but
I
here's the thing. What's funny about it is, for a while, we had, like, you and I had kind of talked about, like, an established pattern. We had two or three words that we
right.
would use all the
Yeah.
time. I don't remember what those words were. I think audio was one of
Oh,
them.
audio, I do, radio. I knew
Yeah.
because you play the first one and then there's a second one. There's always
All
a
right.
pair of words that you play to get all your vowels. I
Yep.
mean, there's a strategy, but I mean, you know that my life is language. So I know when you're saying when you see an elephant, I actually see the word elephant. I see words. It's just that's how my brain goes.
Well, you're weird.
Takes one to know one.
Yes. Oh, I guess. Oh, I'm a weird. I'm
Yeah.
a weird. Fine. I'm all these things. But,
See, I used to do Sudoku too because I thought working with numbers and manipulations would keep my brain fresh.
yeah,
That was a good thing I did every day. I've gotten into the New York Times games these days.
crosswords.
So no, I'm no. I mean that's the one thing my memory is having difficulty with is remembering things for trivia.
Hmm.
I can remember random things that pop in fresh, but I have no control over it.
Right.
Um, but I'll play like connections. I love connections. But again, that involves patterns of words, which is it's sad that I play the things I know I'm good at. I really should try and challenge myself, which
I'm,
is kind of the point of this podcast.
I'm trying to think of what connections it. I think I played it a couple times, but I don't remember.
Where there's
Uh,
four groups of words that are connected.
right. I got you.
But it also has a pattern. One will be about the way the words sound. One will be about the way the words used. One. So I mean, I figured that one out too. And granted, it can be challenging because it is different sets of words. I mean, it's kind of the same pattern, but it's just different sets of words. So I mean, it does keep my mind fresh. So that is one of the things I will do first thing in the morning as well.
I think that's a really good idea. I think part of I think like and I'm casting a wider net here. I think part of it is just trying to challenge your brain every day, learning something. Like, my
You
deal
understand
is,
that.
well, my deal has always been, one of my little guidelines of life, is has been, like, continuous improvement. So try to be better than you were yesterday. And like the easiest way that I think you can be better than you were yesterday is to learn something new today, even if it's a small
Yeah.
thing. So for me, it's because I've been really pushing hard on this music thing, on learning new aspects of music and learning new stuff. Um, so it's a lot of guitar work. It's a lot of guitar work because I'm bad at guitar and I'm trying to get better. And then also, um, for me, the thing that has really been helping is, or at least it feels like it's been helping, is kind of the mind body brain, the brain body connection,
Okay.
with playing drums, because it's like I have to think about what I have to, it's like I'm thinking about what I'm, especially when I'm trying to do stuff, either do something new, or in some cases because my skills have diminished a bit, so trying to recapture stuff that I don't have anymore. Um,
Yeah, that
physically.
is one of the recommendations that's always been made. You and I have spoken about that, about keeping um physically active, but in doing that, I mean, like you said, you're making the connection between
Right.
your
So
mind and
and
I
and
still don't know how you do that. That's
and you
still
remember, then do you remember the word? It was one of our multisyllabic words of the week a couple episodes ago. Do you remember?
well, this whole thing is about neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity. Very good. I love that word.
Yes, we're reworking our
Love.
brain
I
in doing
love
these
that word.
games.
I love that word.
What?
Yeah, I just do. It's my second. It might be my second favorite. My second favorite word in English. Well, maybe my third, because the one that I say the most is F. But
Yeah,
um,
it's a very
yeah,
useful word.
but yeah, that one gets said a lot.
I like neuroplasticity is the thing that gives me hope. With MS, when you have these, and my world, my future is going to be backsliding. I've accepted that. I'm not no longer having relapses necessarily, but I will have pseudo relapses that I'll have to recover from, and I'll have to rebuild
Right.
all those skills that I had. So the fact that neuroplasticity exists is the thing that actually keeps me going.
Yep.
That
Yep.
I know I'm going to come back again. But see, I mean, that's the hard part, is that I get so focused on recovering physically
Hmm.
that I forget my brain needs to
Yep.
recover as well.
Yep.
And
It does.
that's why last week I actually went to see a psychologist. We went in another specialist. Yay! Um,
Woo! Yeah, but you
but
lost a couple of specialists, so you have room for a new one, right?
that
Didn't
is
you get?
true.
Didn't you
I'll
drop a
just slot
couple?
her right in. I
Yeah.
did. I dropped my neurologist, which is going to be a different story for a different day, I guess. But
Yeah.
um,
That's a
since
that's
since
an episode in and of itself.
since now we're focusing on my physical and mental functionality. So, but no, and the psychologist was just explaining to me that during my rehab last year, when I backslid because of sepsis
Mhm.
and the UTI issues I had no idea that affected my mind, and that
Oh, sure.
I needed my mind needed to recover.
Yep.
And I, I was blaming it on I was tired. I was blaming it on being older. I was blaming it on using my physical resources so much. I had no idea that these past 6 months I've just been kind of sitting here stewing in my own brain fog, that it involved recovery.
I have a question.
Yes,
Do
man
you,
in front.
is there a is there any connection with MS and in any kind of infection, really, but specific, like a UTI specifically, with hallucinations? I mean, not that you
Um,
necessarily had them, but does anything documented? Do you know if there's anything documented like that? Because that's a Parkinson's thing.
that is definitely a Parkinson's thing, yes.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't experienced it. I haven't
Okay.
been warned of it. I have not been told of it, as far as MS goes, but I do know that lucky you, you can have that one. That
Yay!
one
Good
goes
for
to you,
me.
sir.
Well,
We
and
need to
that
make
one,
it
and
a category game.
that, and then the other thing that, and this is the one that scares me a little bit, and this is something that came up courtesy of the last shrinking episode, which is like which is like super educational. Is the vocal thing, is the voice deal. At some point, Parkinson starts to affect your voice, and you do vocal exercises and voice exercises, and
Right, that's why
that's
I've gone through speech therapy, because MS affected my vocal
your
cords.
vocals too.
How does it affect yours?
You lose, well, right? It hasn't yet, and hopefully won't for a while. Considering singer.
You saying, yeah.
And actually, I'm hoping my singing ability, and the fact that I do it quite a bit, maybe is something that helps, push it back a little bit. Because yeah, I don't. Well, first off, I don't want to lose it, but yeah, you lose your ability to project. You lose your vocal timbre changes, and your ability to actually vocally project
Hey
things
you,
comes difficult.
do you know how many times you've had to ask me to repeat
Yeah,
what I say?
yeah, but that's not always your vocal. That's not your lack of vocal. Sometimes that's my lack of hearing.
No, it's my lack of projection. I know that. But I will say the speech therapy that I went through, there are a lot of specific exercises.
Sure.
I could do some for you, but no, I don't want to ruin my microphone.
Mama,
Um,
mama, mama, mama,
I have to do some specific
mama.
exercises every day. And everyone will understand when I say that they love the letter E. Speech therapists love the letter E.
Today's speech
Yep.
therapy episode is brought to you by the letter E and the
Yep.
number 8 and the
Yeah, pitch slides, yes. I know the
no,
letter E.
no, I don't. That's interesting.
But no,
Why the letter E? What's so
it's
special
the
about the
way
letter E?
because remember some of my issues are related to spasticity. And
Mm-hmm.
when my vocal cords have the spasms, for some reason when you make the letter E, it it
E
it
E
does something different with your throat.
E. Okay, yeah, I can feel that. E, sure. E E
Yeah.
E E. E. Yeah, I get
So
that. Okay,
so we
I
do
dig that.
like E and pitch glides and stuff.
Oh, you do like pitch shifting?
Start low,
E.
yes. Oh yes.
E.
You have never heard me do that. You will
You
never
could do
will.
like you could do like the lion sleep saying E. You could do that. That'd
I
be
don't think
awesome.
so. Oh,
And
and they work
I
on
want recordings of that.
no, you would love it when they had me working on volume and they didn't shut the door. And the
Oh,
my therapist would have me shout words as loud as I could.
I'm missing
And we
all the
had to
well.
reach
I
like 80 decibels or something. I'd let her on her phone.
like little
Or
SPL.
60. Yeah.
Well, I've
And
heard
I
you
tried
yell at me quite a bit.
huh?
You've yelled at me
I
over
don't
the
yell
years
at
quite a bit.
you.
Oh, sure you have.
I don't have the energy to yell at you. That's
Yes,
a
stop.
full-time job.
Hey, stop that. How many times? No, I don't know.
Yeah, I do say that. No, I will say
Yes.
shush.
Yes. Haven't heard that in a
Shush.
while. Haven't heard that in a while. The
Yeah, I have.
well, see, and that's the thing. I don't know. I have yet to. I haven't crossed I haven't crossed the threshold of the speech therapy vocal exercises thing yet. And I'm hoping I would like to think that maybe it's because I do spend so much time, in singing mode. I really do.
Probably use those muscles more than,
Yeah, I mean,
the average
I
bear.
do push my vocals a bit more because I
Well,
sing I mean, just from practicing, I sing every day.
but the part of this podcast that got me to speech was the fact that speech doesn't just work on speech. Speech also works on, when I was in speech therapy, we did a lot of logic puzzles. We did a lot of working on directions. I had to work on recipes, being able to put recipes in order and to be able to remember them. Um, See, I can't remember exactly what I did, but I worked with a lot of recipes and steps, putting things in sequential order. I worked with the one thing, and everyone will always remember the first thing they always ask you to do, draw the face of the clock. They will always have you draw the face of the clock.
Why?
Um, they want to see how you do it. Like, you have to draw the circle to draw the big
Hmm.
face, and
Yeah.
then you draw the numbers around the outside, and then they'll tell you to draw some times. Which, oh, this is funny. It's totally unrelated, but my daughter was freaking out. My 23-year-old daughter was freaking out because the kids she works with at her elementary school can't tell time. I said, wait, on a digital clock or an analog clock? She goes, the one with the numbers on it. I said, hon,
They
they
both have
don't
numbers
need to
on
be
them.
able to do that. Well, no, the
They
face.
don't have numbers
Yeah,
on the
you're so
clocks.
funny.
No,
You're so
the
funny.
one with number, the one
See,
with
my
numbers.
friend,
What kind of an answer is that?
oh my god.
Well,
No,
think
but
about it. That's
oh shush. See,
no, that's a millennial answer if I've ever heard one.
but I was trying to explain to her, the old lady, I'm telling her they don't need to be able to use those clocks. they're getting digital clocks put in their classrooms. That's a I remember when situation for my children. I said, this
Sure.
is your first I remember when, hun. You're
Yep.
23 and you've got the I remember when schools had clocks, analog
Did
clocks.
did she have to learn? I'm trying to think. So she's 23. Did she have to learn cursive?
She insists that she knows how to read it. Yes, she did.
Okay. I'm just curious. And I think there's probably still some schools that teach it, but yes, we know it's going away. Um, it's going to be. Actually, I think it's funny. I think communication is in the process of going completely full circle to where we remember very early caveman drawings and caveman communication and pictures,
Hieroglyphics.
hieroglyphics, and pretty soon we're all going to communicate via emojis and no words whatsoever. I think
Yeah.
you and I will be dead when that happens, but our hate in
Mhm.
somewhere in the grandkids' life, yeah,
Yeah.
that might be a
Well, as
thing.
English teachers, we always joked about the vowels were going away. There was gonna be language without vowels. Why do you need it when you text? People don't use vowels.
That yeah,
You
there's
know.
that. There's that, and also just kind of the general misuse of them anyway. But
No.
no, I
But anyway, so speech. So being able to use an analog clock is a brain cognition activity that they always test. I'm trying to
it's
think.
interesting.
There's two tests they always did. There's another one where they had you, the first two tests, the clock, and then they have you do this maze. We had to go from 1A1, B2, C3, D4, and you have to go around this little maze.
Okay.
That was the other test I always did. So speech therapy isn't like, it's not speech. It's not just speech.
Hmm.
It's cognition. And so that's what I'm actually going into now. I'm almost done with my OT. So speech is going to be next before I start PT again. So I only do one therapy at a time.
Oh, okay.
But they, it was always fun. People never understood because they're like, well, you're just playing games. That's not really therapy. And I'm like, yeah, when you think about it. I mean, I taught my grandson to play rummy this morning, and he's 8, almost 9, and that's when you have to think defense, offense, this strategy. I mean, it's there's thinking involved.
Did you take any lunch money off him?
Yeah, after I beat him up behind the bushes. Yeah.
No, no. I mean, no. Seriously, if you're gonna play rummy,
No,
you can play rummy. You play rummy for a couple pennies a point. And next thing you know, the kid's got no lunch
no.
money.
You think I take his debit card thing, but
Ain't got no lunch money. No.
they don't take me a penny.
Well,
So yeah.
yeah, but it's funny. People laugh at me whenever I'm telling that like whenever I bring up how therapeutic drumming is, not just like mentally, not only that it's an outlet because I get to hit stuff really hard, but that
Yeah.
there's that when the brain therapy, the neuroplasticity to it, because I'm literally, especially if I'm singing too, I'm making all four limbs. I'm getting all four limbs to do four different things at the same time, and I'm singing on top of it. That
That,
is that's it. People laugh whenever they see these little emojis that float around, going, that the smartest guy in the band is always the drummer. Well, it's not because the drummer knows a lot of stuff. It's because the drummer has the ability to do just what I said, to make four, who else in the band is making all four limbs do four different things at the same time.
yeah.
So, and that's it. Like I said, people laugh at it because typically the drummers get picked on the most. Like the old some of them. There's a million drummer jokes. Like how do you know the stage is level? Drool comes out equally both sides of the drummer's mouth.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How do you get the drummer off your
Nice.
porch? You pay for the pizza. All these things. You know how do what do you call a drummer? What do you call a drummer without a girlfriend? Homeless.
Oh,
Yeah. So
it
so
did
yeah.
take me a second to couple of these. Okay.
So yeah. I mean, that's people always pick on the drummers being the big dummies, but no, it's the actual act of drumming, and there's actually some documented stuff of how this relates with Parkinson's is pretty therapeutic.
Right.
So I'm kind of hoping I'm kind of hoping that if the fact that I had to be saddled with a neurodegenerative disease, and some of the things that go along with that neurodegenerative disease is
Yeah.
physical is physical challenges that drumming helps you combat, and vocal challenges that singing might help you combat. I suppose if I had to pick one of them, I guess I picked a pretty good one.
You got a head start on this one,
I
yeah.
got yeah, I got
I
some
would say
stuff
that.
that's I mean I'm in a moment to and from moment to moment it comes and goes, and it's bad and it's good and it's bad and it's good. It's nonlinear, but it occurs to me a lot. 10 how many 5 years or 10 years, how much of the music stuff am I still going to be able to do?
Mhm.
Which is why I'm trying to do as much of it as I am now, because I feel like when it comes to that, when it comes to that stuff, which is like one of my favorites, my favorite thing to do, music and diving, like my two favorite things to do, kind of on the clock with those, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Well, it goes back to, the thing I always said, the thing that I always worry about is use it or lose it.
yep.
I see that with my left arm right now. I'm starting to lose the use of my left arm. So I'm trying to use it more. I mean, I know that I'm going to. It's just, it's going to be a battle.
How are you
But I mean,
using it?
to do little things, to um, turn lights on and off if I have to pull my blankets up over me, to like I'm wearing a sweater, to button the sweater, to you don't realize once you start feeling that you can't use this well anymore, you just automatically stop, you know,
Yeah,
and you don't even realize you're doing it. You just naturally lean towards your strong side.
you
And
compensate. Yep. Yeah.
right, and you don't even realize you're doing it. So now I've got to go out of my way to, okay, let me take a second, let me do this.
Do you do
Because
you
here's the honesty is and people they most will understand this. The bathroom. There's so many things I need both hands for. And I'm requiring more and more help, and I'm not always comfortable with it.
do you find do you find that because it's your maybe because it's your left side, it's your non-dominant hand, that it requires more focus for you? Because and the
Absolutely.
reason, yeah, okay, because the reason I ask is because all my issues, when my tremors are bad, it's always on my right side, and I'm right hand dominant. I'm right mostly. I'm a little bit. My eyes are a little bit weird, but for the most part, I'm right side dominant.
Okay.
Um, so I kind of have to,
Yeah,
when I
exactly.
when I feel like I'm having an extra bad tremor day. Um, it's like I have to focus 10 times as harder to 10 times as hard. I have to 10 times harder. I have to focus. I have to focus a lot harder to to overcome that, especially now, because like I have to type a good bit more based on daytime
Yeah.
job stuff. And there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than having to be the guy that shares the screen in a meeting and people are watching me type,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're just like, "What's the matter with that guy?"
Well,
You
that's the
know?
reason I stopped working my last job was because I had to type up outlines with students,
Yeah.
and um, I eventually needed them to type, and getting a teenager to stay on task, that was challenging in and of itself.
Right.
Um, but I mean, that's why I could not no longer do that job because voice text and there was no amount of accommodation. I couldn't
Right.
figure out a scenario that would work.
Yep.
So
Now
that
I
was the
have
big.
now I have a coworker now I have a coworker who loves to type. So I'm just like, hey, you want to take notes for this? And
Well, well,
she's on it.
yeah, in this day and age, I really am not fond of the mirror. I really don't like looking in the mirror. It's too much for me to deal with
Yeah.
mentally with the wheelchair, and I'm getting used to it. But at OT yesterday, my therapist Jody had me. This is what we worked on with my left hand. Had me mimic myself in the mirror, making my right side and my left side look the same.
Oh.
Because my left side, my left arm doesn't rest naturally anymore. It looks awkward. I
Okay.
mean, it makes people understand. I'm starting to get the claw. And when you
Right.
start to get the claw and my arm is contracting with spasticity, it just doesn't look natural. It looks kind of creepy. So she had me sit in front of a mirror and like make my right and left arms look the same. That was so difficult. And I told her, I said, I'm not going to do this all day, Jody.
Did you
I just can't. But
did you
I need
flex
to get
out? Did
clear.
you? Did you get like the
I
flex out
can't.
thing? Yeah,
Yay! I can
yeah,
kind of do it. But no, I mean, I've got to constantly look down and see, is my left arm resting the same as my right,
yeah.
so
I
that
get
it
that.
looks more natural. But I don't know. But I will get there.
Well,
But but the reason I would say all this came up, all this idea for this podcast came up, is you do see things being advertised with these games, especially.
sure.
I think I saw some research recently about how they're saying brain games can combat dementia, and so I started doing a little bit of research to see, when did speech therapy and all this come about? Because we've always known we need to retrain physically. Like, when did they start realizing that, oh my God, the brain is evolved as well,
Oh, sure.
right?
At the end of the day, the brain is also a muscle. You got to work it out.
I know. So I did a little bit of research and found, and I've got to read this book. I found that it exists, but it really only started back in 1995, which to us doesn't seem that long ago, but it really is. I don't admit that it is, but it really is. Um,
It's 31
with
years.
what?
31 years.
I was gonna do
Yeah, I know, but that's how I roll.
the math. um, but back in 1995, they started with a book. What was it called? Train Your Brain: 60 Days to a Better Brain. Ooh, that sounds nice. Wouldn't it be nice?
That sounds awful. I mean, that doesn't sound awful, but if it was just train your brain, then
And be done with
like
it.
then
Yeah.
be done with that. It's when they put that 60 days on there, that makes it sounds hokey. It makes it sound like, you know, 60 days to it's 60 days to a better body. It's like, hey, 60 days before beach season. It
Yeah.
feels weird when
It's coming up. We better start working on our beach bodies now.
right, but I can't because I'm
Um,
busy working on my beach brain.
exactly. What would you rather have?
Oh, beach body for sure. Nobody's interested in me for my brain. Please,
Oh,
please.
we all want. Yeah,
And right
everybody
now,
wants.
and right now, if you saw me right now, if anybody saw me in a bathing suit, nobody's interested in that either. So
Stop.
it's
Like they shush.
hauling
Well,
around a couple 100 pounds of Jello.
my point was that I mean, it's only been that long since the brain's been giving any sort of an idea that, oh, okay, now we're realizing these things are really happening to us,
Hmm.
and we do need to fight for it. They've tried with video games. They've tried with, um, I mean, now we have apps,
Right.
and how easy it is just to play on the
Yep.
apps.
Yep.
The things they're looking into now is the fact that, yes, this game will help for this specific skill. Let's say, I played Lumosity and no, I'm not getting paid by Lumosity, but I was given that app
Hmm.
by my speech therapist. And we would actually sit and we just during some of my therapy sessions, we'd sit and play games. And the reason Lumosity was great was because they had different games that targeted different issues. Because you can have memory, you can have concentration and focus. I have issues with both of those. You can have issues with what else would you have an issue with? What do you have issue with? Decision making. I mean, decision making speed or at all. You can
Sure.
have problems with, I mean, these are your main mental problems, but I know we have Cog that we all love.
Good.
But Lumosity will go through, they'll give you, say, 5 games a day, and they will look at what you are good at and what you need to work on, and they will steer you toward those games.
Hmm.
They will ask you how much sleep did you have. So it keeps
Not
track of your
enough.
progress. Exactly. Never enough. But it'll keep track of your progress. I mean, that's the one big thing about these games, that you need to be challenging yourself.
Yep.
And
It's 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 what I realized a couple. I don't know how many. Let me think about this. See, 11 or 12 years ago was when I first sort of really came to the realization that we as a species and medical science knows we're scratching the surface. We're
hmm
barely scratching the surface on the brain. Um, and I say that based on having a kid. HIPAA violation, having a kid with seizures. who had seizure problems. And when you
Mhm.
look at the neurologist that we talked to there, it was, well, let's try this medication. Well, that one didn't work. Let's try this medication. That one kind of worked. Let's try this
Mhm.
medication. That one worked, but the side effects were so bad that he couldn't do it. And it's a series of it was a series of trial and error until we finally got it right. And it's we're to say we're scratching the surface, I think, is even giving it a little bit too much, giving it too much credit. We just don't know enough about we don't know about the enough about the brain, and yet here it is. It's the driver of everything. It's the driver of everything, and we don't. And it's like you do our studies, and we do our, people do their studies, and I read what's out there, and I try to stay on top of. I try to stay on top of the medical science stuff. Most, if I clearly when I if I see an article about MS, or I see an article about Parkinson's, or I see an article about autism, or um,
Yeah.
seizure, epilepsy, seizure disorders.
Epilepsy. Yeah.
Yeah, if I see stuff like that, I definitely go. I certainly read it, and I read it. I'll try to understand it. I try to consume it as best I can. But then it's like but then you read. So then you do a little bit of bit of googling underneath that or behind it, and you realize that oh well, this isn't confirmed, or this is a thing, or that's a thing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's it's um it's it's interesting, especially like not because now when you start talking about what they're doing, some of the stuff that they're doing with like psilocybin and different like psychedelic drugs trying to that are helping people rewire kind of rewire their head a little bit.
Hmm.
Um,
I've not looked into that.
it's yeah, take a peek at it. I have actually looked at it. I looked at it in relation to MS and I didn't find much at this point, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's stuff out there for it. It's basically, hey, take some mushrooms and have a thing, and you know, and
Take some mushrooms and have a thing.
yeah, go. We're gonna get you the because psilocybin is a psychedelic.
Huh.
It's a psychedelic drug. It's basic. You're gonna have 8 hours. The next 8 hours you're gonna spend in a yurt, and you're gonna have hallucinations and you're gonna like a sweat lodge with hallucinations and this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like an Aaron Rodgers off season, but with a
I think
purpose.
that's probably why I have not paid
Yeah,
attention to it, 'cause I remember
right. It's
it
an
being
Aaron.
connected.
It's an Aaron Rodgers off season, but with
And as a
medical
Bears
purposes.
fan, no.
Well, yeah, but I've actually seen stuff. It actually one of the inroads. It's making very big inroads, I guess, in the addiction world, which has been which has been good. But when you start to talk about the idea that there's if the general makeup of the brain is just this whole insane level of circuitry, just neurological circuitry, and this off ramp over here isn't working particularly well because and therefore it's causing tremors, or it's causing something Parkinson's related or autism related or MS whatever, and they realize, hey, you know what, that we can make the same connection over this way. How do we do that? How do we get the brain to basically rewire itself? Again, neuroplasticity. Um,
Hmm. Our construction workers
yes, yeah. There's a
to
bunch of little
rebuild that off
there,
ramp.
there's a there's a Disney movie in the making for this, which would be kind of like Inside Out, but instead of the emotional aspects, it's
Yeah.
just a bunch of construction workers work in somebody's brain and then are animated and all that.
We can add this to the
Um,
musical.
yes. So I mean, I think there's validity to all these games. I think there's validity to anything that is going to challenge your brain. Is going to challenge the way you're thinking. Is going to push you to do this. And in your case, and in my case, where it's not just neurological uh, malfunctions, for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
It's those neurological malfunctions then take effects on your physical being. Your
Well,
left arm, my right tremors, and just keep
this won't
trying.
fix that. But one thing I've noticed is that when I was in rehab, something that I lost sincerely because I was somewhat isolated, and we talked about this last week about being isolate. We can play all these games online, but
Yep.
nothing is going to help quite as much as playing that game with my grandson, or finding myself in a new situation where I have to navigate my way out of it, where I'm actively doing it. These apps are great, but going out into the real world also. And the reason I say this, the one thing I do remember losing, and why this podcast is a challenge for me, is I lost my conversation skills. I lost how to creatively and effectively communicate with other human beings.
In
Because when we
fairness, I
have,
knew you before. You didn't really have that many of them.
yeah, because I never
Yeah,
got to talk with you. I just had to listen.
that's
Uh,
right. I'm terrible at
yeah,
that.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Yeah, you were
I'm
you weren't a good listener. Uh,
uh,
it's okay. No, I
so
get. No, there's definitely. You're right. You're right. There's
do a puzzle by yourself or do a puzzle with a friend.
right.
What's gonna have more benefit? That kind of a thing.
Well, do you know why I stopped doing? You mentioned Wordle earlier. You know why I stopped doing Wordle?
Why?
Because we stopped comparing how we did it.
It became less challenging. It was,
Well, right. But even on those hard days, like there were days when it was real easy, and then there would be those hard days where it's like, did you get it?
yeah,
It took me all five, or it took me four, and you'd be like, well, I got it in two, or I got it in three, or I got it. It took me, you took you three, it took me five, or there's days when it took me, we kind of stopped. We stopped those comparisons. We took the
yeah.
one human element. I almost said human elephant. The one human. That's
The
such an
human
idiot.
elephant in the room. Yeah.
The one human elephant uh, is was idiot. The one human element that kept me going with Wordle was you and I being competitive about it.
That's true.
That's the thing that I'm trying to get away from. I'm actually trying to move away from some of that competitiveness because there's a fair amount of that, especially in the music world. Um, I don't want to compare myself to other musicians. I mean, I'm totally stealing ideas from anybody whenever I can because I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
people are stealing ideas from me too. Which you're always trying to you see something. Oh, how do you do that? And try to copy it. Um, and there's definitely players out there that are just better than I am, especially when it comes to guitar. There's a million players out there better than me. Um, but it was weird. So like that human element, I think if it's competitive or if it's just for hey, how did you do this? How did you do this? Just for a fun game.
Hmm.
It does keep you engaged. It does keep you engaged. You can get addicted to all like you mentioned in here about being addicted to certain games and that kind of stuff. But what's so addicting about the game if you're not looking at the score and maybe you're not comparing it to other people's
Yeah.
scores?
That's why
You know what I'm saying?
personal best exists. Yeah.
Right.
See, my the joy in my world is that I actually forget to play the games.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
So
different story. But
yeah,
see,
so that's kind of why I stopped.
but if you were in a competitive mode on a given game, like hey, if it was you and the grandson, or you and me, or you and somebody else, it would be,
Yeah.
hey, grandma, did you play this morning? Or Mimi, sorry, hey, Mimi,
Yeah.
did you play this morning? And you're like, no, I forgot. Oh, here, let me. While you're getting ready for school, I'll do Wordle. If it's
Right. Yeah.
like, hey, the other thing that I think happened with Wordle that we stopped. The reason we stopped comparing was because I was an hour ahead of you when I moved here.
Yeah. This time
The
change
the,
has
the
been
time zone
brutal.
I think kind of the time zone I think screwed us up a little bit too.
Yeah,
But
and I mean you're an early riser and you're already an hour ahead of me.
right,
And I have to lie in bed in the morning and wait for someone to wake up to help me.
yeah, I get that. So,
Yeah, like this morning it was almost 10 o'clock before I got rescued,
ugh,
which is 11 o'clock your time. You've already had lunch, so
yeah, well, I haven't had lunch, but I'm thinking about it.
yeah,
Well, I think if anything, so that the message here to take away from all this is, consistency is, making sure, do your work. I mean, OT, the thing with any of OT, PT, and what do they call it? What do they is MT? Can we refer to mental therapy as MT? Is
no,
brain thing?
speech is called SLP.
SLP. Okay.
SLP, yeah.
speech and language something.
Yeah.
Um, stay consistent, do your work.
You've got to keep doing it, yeah.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do your work every day, and even the stuff that's not fun. If it's maybe there's a way to make it fun. I don't know, but that's you guess they push through the hard stuff. I wish I had some. This is where like you're looking for some motivational something like a big. Let me give you the big, wise motivational thing. Ready for it? Here it comes. Just do your work. I can't say just do it because Nike owns that, but I can
Just
go.
as I was
But
about to say,
but
that's a
just do
great
get your
tagline.
you gotta get your work in. You got to get at the end of the day. You got to get your work in. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes I mean, look for me to get my work in. I have my regular job, and I have to do, and I have stuff for that I got to get my work in.
But here's the thing, it's easier to remember to do the physical work because I'm sitting here, my hand just starts cramping. Oh, I remember I've got to stretch it.
Right.
But what is going to remind me to do the mental work? In fact, my mental work is that's the problem is I'm not going to remember to do it. So it's
Well,
fighting itself.
so you set a reminder on your phone. Set a reminder on
Exactly.
your phone that says,
Set a
"Hey,
reminder, make a poster.
do your work."
I think I'm going to do that as soon as we're done.
Are we done?
I mean, we will be.
No, I
I mean,
mean,
that's the big takeaway is just to remember to do it. I mean, the
yeah,
physical stuff, we get reminders because your body's going to remind you. So,
there's.
like you said,
Go
make a
ahead. Go ahead.
sign, make a reminder, whatever you need to do. But the other thing is also to keep trying to do better. There's a reason people always try and achieve personal bests. You always that's your daily motto. Always try and be better than
Yep.
you were the day before. God, how many times have you told me that? You know. And with the rain, you have to keep doing that. That's how you gotta exercise it. Keep making it better. Like I said, I'm doing connections every day, but it's always the same. I need to find something more difficult. I need to level up.
Well, and I'm trying to
Right?
find a. Oh, I can't find it now. There is a guy. There's a guy.
You always have a guy.
James Clear, writer James Clear. This guy I've seen him on podcasts and all that stuff. James Clear, who writes about habits. Um,
Hmm.
who writes about creating habits. So, if
Right.
so like by definition is repeating action that becomes an automatic behavior and thought. If you
Hmm.
can do it, and I think it is 11. I think he said it's 11 days, or maybe let me see.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So there's 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, but 11 days. If you can do something 11 days in a row, then after, like on day 12 it should just become a habit. Somewhere around day 12 it becomes a habit. So try to make a habit of something.
Yeah.
Make things habitual, and and then as you do that, like one of the other things, on our little cheat sheet here, um, ramp it up a little bit.
Level up.
Ramp it up, level up, increase the difficulty. Try to do something. Try to do something you haven't been able to, because you're going to be again better than you were yesterday,
Hmm.
and take your next step. Every my day job requires um, my day job requires me to um, push this continuous improvement thing. It's one of the reasons why it's part of my life, is because I want the people that I work with. I need it to be a part of theirs, is for my own
Yeah.
success. So even a baby step forward is still a step forward, and sometimes people forget that. And if you make 10 baby steps forward 10 days in a row, that's within 10 days you've probably taken two really big giant steps.
That's
Just
how I
in
recover from these relapses every single time.
so
Because I'll lose the physical skill,
yep.
and I've got even they say when I stop being able to move my left hand, being able to twitch it a little bit and twitch it a little more every day, it's gonna get better and better. But I always forget that I need to do that I need to do that with my brain too.
Yep. James Clear, the guy James, and James Clear is not a sponsor of the show. He's not a guest on the show. But he's just somebody who I have followed. He makes a really good point. If you become If you can be 1% better, if you can improve by 1% every day, at the end of the year, that's 365%.
Adds up. Nice.
Yep, that's the thing. So, what have we accomplished here today?
I think that's the takeaway right there.
Yep, there it is.
1% better
So
every day.
1%, 1%, 1%. Everybody try to be one of the 1%ers. Sometimes maybe you get 2, but
2.
maybe sometimes you get 2%.
Mm.
But and some days you're going to get 0, and it's okay to get 0
That's to say,
because
sometimes I get negative, but as long
yeah,
as I keep moving forward.
it's the aggregate. One step back, couple steps forward.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're
There you
good,
go.
and we're out. I think we're going to roll. I'm
I've got
trying to
no
be
choice
more
but to.
cognizant.
What I do.
Well, yes, that's true. You do have I see what you did there. I'm trying to be more cognizant of time with these podcasts. So I've been watching my watch a little bit, and I think we're
Okay.
going to wrap it up. So anybody listening, suggestions, thoughts, stuff you guys might have for us, you can find us at wheelsandshaky.com and at shaky at wheelsandshaky.com. I think there's also a general info box. If you have things you would like to see or hear or learn about us, you can visit the website. You can find us on the YouTube channel, like and subscribe on that guy. You can
Mm-hmm.
follow us. You can like us. You can love us. You can subscribe to us. You can tell your friends about us. You can do all those things that would be super helpful because we would love you for it and you'll be our new best friends.
And we need friends.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, because right now it's pretty much just the two of us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
we find that very funny. Yeah.
Outside of that, just work everybody self-improvement, right? I don't want this to turn into like a self-help thing. We've never been preachy on the show and I don't want to turn into it now. So I'm not going to do
No,
that.
no.
But what I will say, and I don't consider this to be preachy, is go out there and take care of each other, take care of yourselves, be well, be good, be kind, be cool,
And
and be
just keep
back.
rolling.
Yep, just keep rolling and be back next time. Later.